Hi friends, I'm at my girlfriend's. I'm here in Idaho, and I gotta share. This is really exciting because this is again the work of the Holy Spirit. It's just, phew. So I got here to Idaho within 48 hours. I've had all these encounters, and it's just been crazy, right? Well, one of the things that happened is the other day, I was at my other girlfriend's in Rathdrum, and the Holy Spirit just welled up in me and said, "Call Dr. Leo." Now, Dr. Leo is the doctor who diagnosed me with the multiple myeloma. I mean, out of the blue. I had gone in there for my back. Remember, I had that affliction, that sciatica. I couldn't walk in all these months. And when I went into the doctor's office that day, after months and months not being able to see her, because she's very hard to get into, right? I had gone to a nurse practitioner. I had gone to, oh man, and they're shooting me up and giving me pills. And I just became a basket case, right? I mean, you saw how sick I was. So I finally get in to see Dr. Leo. And she was the one who was looking at my labs, and she's like, "Your protein's high." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, that's not normal. That's not normal." And then she looked at me and she says, "Bear with me. I'm going to test you for what's called multiple myeloma." Never heard of it. She's like, "It's a cancer." And I'm like, "Go ahead. I don't have cancer." I'll make a long story short. That divine appointment is what I mean, that divine appointment, that was a divine appointment, because I would have never known that I had multiple myeloma. I would have never changed my diet. I would have never addressed everything in my health. I would have never, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for Dr. Leo and that divine appointment and her out of the blue picking one rare cancer from a protein. Yeah. So that's how God works. So here I am, I'm laying in bed the other day, and the Holy Spirit comes over me and says, "Call Dr. Leo." And I'm like, "Why?" But it was so strong. And I'm like, I'm never going to get in. Like, it takes months to get in to see Dr. Leo. She's like one of the only doctors up in Bonners Ferry. So I call her. I call the office. I'm humoring the Holy Spirit, right? And the lady picks up, and I'm like, "This is so-and-so, and I'm a patient of Dr. Leo's. And I'm wondering if she has any appointments this week." And the receptionist starts to laugh. She's like, "Well, that's kind of funny." And I'm like, "I know. I used to work at the hospital, and yeah, I know it's an impossibility, but can you check?" And she says, "What's your date of birth?" And she gets my date of birth, and she's like, "Well, you're not going to believe this." And I'm like, "What?" We got an opening on Thursday at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, really." And I'm like, I said, "This is a God thing." And she says, "You think?" I said, yeah. We both recognize that God had a hand in this, because there ain't no appointments the same week at 10 o'clock. No way, no how. Like someone canceled. No. So I'm going in this morning to go see Dr. Leo. I think there's more here than meets the eye. I really do. I think this cancer diagnosis has been a hindrance to at least some of my relationships. I think the Lord wants to remove that hindrance. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's where the Lord is heading me. And I think I need to get confirmation that I've been healed. That's what I'm feeling, how the Spirit is leading me. Now, it's all God's will. And I trust in whatever the plan is. You got to walk in that faith 100%. And I'm walking in it. But that's where I'm going right now. So I got to get going, and I'll take you with me. All right? We'll see what happens. Oh, I didn't get any footage in the doctor's office. I'm in the bathroom. The door's locked. But just saw Dr. Leo. And yeah, it's interesting. I like her, but she's like, "So if it gets worse, when it does get worse, you're going to go traditional, right?" I'm like, "No." She's, "You're not going to go, this homeopathic stuff, that's fine, but, when it gets worse." And I'm like, "No, it's not going to get worse." And she's like, "Oh, okay." She didn't know what to say. I'll go out there. I got to get my blood drawn, but I'll talk more. Well, I'm heading over to get my blood work, and I wanted to share the appointment. It was very interesting. The doctor was very happy to see me. She says, "Yeah, I look terrific." I told her all the healings that have gone on. She was blown away about my neck. She's like, "What's the deal with your neck?" She says, "Yeah, you should have had surgery." I'm like, "Yeah, it's healed." So she was like stunned about the whole neck thing. And let me turn this around here. So she was stunned about the whole neck thing. She was very interested to hear like what I was diagnosed, because she said, what ended up happening is, she said, I diagnosed you and then you got all your labs and then you disappeared. I said, yeah, I disappeared because I was really sick. And my girlfriend came and rescued me and she took me away. And I started doing raw and juicing, and she's like, oh, wow. And I did natural. And she says, well, when's the last time you went to the doctors? And I told her it was over at Emory University in Atlanta. And I said, the doctor laughed at me with what I was doing, but they basically confirmed my labs and said that I had MGUS. And she's okay. So she says, well, that's it. Okay. She says, now I at least know that you didn't need a bone marrow. And I said, well, they wanted me to get one, but I refused, because I said, I just trust the Lord. I just trust the Lord. So that was a gift from him. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So I told her what I've been doing with the natural, the homeopathic, and the fever baths and the teas and eating. And she's like, you're all raw? I said, yeah. And she says, well, how's your B12? And she asked some good questions. She asked if I had any bone pain, any other pain. She just went through the whole gamut. And she's like, wow. She says, there's some things I just can't explain. She's like, she says, I just can't explain what's going on with you. And I'm like, well, I can, because the Lord has healed me, is holding it in the palm of his hand. And she's like, well, that's good. It's like she ascribes, but she doesn't ascribe. And it was kind of disappointing. And then she just, like I said, in the bathroom, she just asked me, she said, so when this starts getting bad, she said, you're going to go traditional, right? And I'm like, I didn't answer her. She's like, you're going to go traditional, right? I'm like, no. She's like, well, homeopathic can only do so much. I'm like, I said, I trust the Lord, and I know I'm going up in the clouds with him. This cancer is not going to kill me. He's got it. And she just didn't understand it. You could tell she just didn't understand it. Like even though she's okay with the homeopathic, like then it's supposed to wear out. And I said, I've seen people healed. 6 months they have to live and they're healed. And I said, this is not, and I said, obviously you have to work in cooperation with the Lord. You can't be eating your candy and your cake and eating your hamburger and thinking that the Lord's going to heal you. And she's like, yeah, I agree. You're right. You got yeah. And I said, this is cooperation with the Lord. And but it's you got to be with the Lord. You got to be in cooperation. You got to be taking care of yourself. He's going to look down and say, if you keep eating like this, I can't heal you. Can't heal you. I mean, he could, but so we have to do our part, and I'm doing my part. And I said, the Lord has promised me full healing and restoration. And as long as I'm doing my part. So yeah, it's a little disappointing, but she did acknowledge that how this whole diagnosis came about. She's like, this is crazy, because she says, when you got your labs done the month before, your protein wasn't elevated. Your WBCs were very low, 2.3, but she says then within a couple weeks, your protein spiked like out of the blue. She says, I've never seen that. And it was God's timing, because that was the appointment that the Lord had me made. And I told her about how I got here today, and she couldn't believe it. She's like, yeah, I can't believe you're here, because people don't get in to see me within 2 days. I'm like, there's a reason that I'm here. God's doing something. So anyway, I gotta go and get my labs drawn, and we'll know at least today what my WBCs are, and then we're doing the whole gamut. They're very specific labs. Protein electrophoresis, kappa, lambda, light change, CMP with GFR, protein, vitamin B12 we'll get to, but there's some pretty specific labs. Yeah. So monoclonal gammopathy is how they stage that right now. So, and she has an idea where it's going, and I have an idea where it's going. So, all right, I'm going to run inside now. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I'm sitting and waiting for my labs, and it brings back a lot of memories, because there's all these people that I used to work with. So it's pretty cool. And the last time that I was here, obviously I was bent over and I was just a complete basket case. I was a shell of bones, and I couldn't stand upright. And so I've come a long way, and it's nice to be here, to be so strong and healthy. And I think the only thing that the doctor said that she was concerned with is, she says, you look a little skinnier than I've seen you. And I'm like, well, I actually put on weight. But she was amazed that I was biking and running and lifting weights. She's like, really? You're doing all of that? I'm like, yeah.
That is amazing, isn't it? So, but I'm drawing my labs, and again, I'm not here to find out about the cancer. This really is it's hard to explain, but this is a spiritual thing. Again, this morning I got up, yesterday I got up, and the Holy Spirit came over me and said, "You need to go call Dr. Leo." And I'm telling you, my friends, this isn't about the cancer, because the Lord has the cancer. There's something going on here spiritually that the Lord wants to do in my life and maybe the lives of the people that love me. I just have this strong Holy Spirit feeling about that. So I will definitely keep you posted.